The human voice is an instrument of power. A single voice can be a lullaby or a battle cry, a bridge or a spark. It is the most personal instrument you will ever play. It's tuned by the breath, colored by emotion, and capable of moving hearts without ever touching. My voice, unfortunately, never played flawlessly. I had a debilitating stutter. My tongue would be locked in place. The notes get stuck in my throat, and my lips forgot what they were supposed to do. I remember people's faces, the shock, the pity. Every stare was an invitation to shame, and I carried that as a second skin. But I wasn't alone. 1 in every 100 people in the world stutters. And that number is probably much higher because there is a secret that people keep because it's a source of shame. In many cultures, people who stutter are perceived to be less intelligent. They are the butt of jokes and mockery. So everyday folks and famous people alike try to keep it a secret because the stigma is too great for many people to bear. But those who develop the courage and summon the fortitude to speak out give everyone the unlikely gift of imperfection when we speak. Take, for example, musicians Kendrick Lamar, Ed Sheeran, Bill Withers. They found rapping and singing as loopholes to stuttering. Rowan Atkinson, the famous Mr. Bean, he had a terrible stutter, but he created this adorable character, Mr. Bean, to mimic his words. James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader and Mufasa from The Lion King. He was so riddled with stammering when he was a young boy that he didn't speak for a couple of years, but he found his salvation in acting. Now, here's one you may not know. Marilyn Monroe. You know, that sexy, soft, sensuous way of speaking was an antidote to the stress that she felt when she had to perform, and she then stuttered. So, with that, we know that whether you outgrew your childhood stutter or you still suffer from it, it leaves scars. Because once a stutterer, always a stutterer. As a young version of myself, I couldn't even say my own name. At age 7, I stood in front of Sister Margaret's 4th grade classroom at St. Joseph's Academy for Girls. And I was dressed in a secondhand uniform, wearing shoes that were much too big for my 7-year-old feet. I was away from home for the first time. My parents had just brought me to the United States from Cuba, where we were persecuted and we had to leave as refugees. And I remember standing in front of that classroom of girls that were the daughters of diplomats and very, very rich people. And I couldn't speak the language. I was going to be introduced to the class. The nun said to the girls, "Girls, please meet your new classmate. She is a refugee from Cuba, and she speaks very little English." She asked me to stand. I'm there shaking and alone, terrified and unable to speak the language. I took a breath, and the nun again said, "Please tell the girls your name, dear." I said, there was a pause. The class broke out in laughter. And the nun gave me this pitying stare, saying, "You poor thing." I felt like San Sebastian, you know, all the daggers, all the arrows coming in my body. But we know that San Sebastian, he survived, as did I. But from that point forward, stuttering took a place right in the center of my life. My parents didn't know what to do with me. I went silent for about a year. I couldn't speak. But they said, well, we'll have to send you to a speech therapist, and we just don't know what to do with you. And actually, they pretended that it never even happened, because having a gaga in the family is not a point of pride for a Cuban family. So I went to the speech therapist, and she had me do these tongue twisters and these strange sounds like ooh, 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 I sounded like a zoo in therapy. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to the extremes of the ancient Greek orator Demosthenes. And Demosthenes wanted to claim his rightful place in Greek society. But he couldn't speak. He had a terrible stammer. And so he decided he was going to create his own therapeutic method. So what he did was he shaved his head, he went into a cave for 3 months and practiced speaking flawlessly with rocks in his mouth. He succeeded. It worked. Demosthenes was successful. For me, speech therapy didn't work. It didn't work. It was just one failure after the other. I came up with my own solution. So I found the words, the sounds that trip me. So for example, P's and R's, my name is Rosemary, were my nemesis. So what I did was I found word substitutions. So instead of saying puppies, I said little dogs. Instead of saying roses, I said pretty flowers, or just flowers. It worked for quite some time. And I was able to manage it, but speaking very, very little. Until my music teacher, Mrs. Swenson, recognized my disfluency and said, you know what, Rosemary, I'm going to give you a solution. You can sing. You have a voice. You have a nice alto voice. You can carry a tune. How about if we have you sing in the school's musical showcase, and I'm going to give you a solo? I was terrified. But you know what? It made me feel really important, right? The teacher thinks that I have a good enough voice. And music, she said, was going to be a way for me to deal with my stutter. So here we go. We're practicing. And then she says to me, but I'm going to give you a song that's just very popular, and you're going to love it. It is People from the musical Funny Girl. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Do you know how many P's are in that song? I performed without a hitch. It was wonderful. And I said to myself, I'm cured. But no, stutters don't just disappear. They just go away for a while. A little stress comes into your life changes, and then suddenly it's back. The stutter monkey was back with a vengeance. In college, I decided I was going to write instead of speaking. I became a journalism major, because after all, if you have to write, you don't have to speak, right? And so I was very successful with the written word, until I was told that I had to host a radio program in order to complete my coursework and graduate. A radio program, a live radio program. I had to finish, so I decided I was going to tackle that as the Mount Everest that I was going to climb. So the radio program at WBAU Radio in Garden City, New York, had a lovely studio. And I was brought in, and I practiced, and so far so good, until I realized that my first guest was going to be Dr. Pedro Rodriguez. Okay. So the day came, I looked at that microphone, and I said, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get me. I'm going to do this. I took a deep breath, and I was able to do the interview flawlessly. And it taught me that that it was a matter of having a message, having something important to do, having a mission, and using my words and my voice together to spread my message and to do good in the world. So stuttering became my friend, no longer my enemy. It taught me that I can put my mind into saying my message, my truth, and that's so empowering. That's why today I teach public speaking, and I'm a speaker That's the way I make my living. I'm a communicator, using my words and my voice and my presence and my power. It has taught me to be resilient, to be compassionate with myself and with others. And so stuttering became my unlikely teacher. And with those lessons that I've learned, I want to share with you today 3 very important ones I think will make you a better communicator. The first lesson is to use the power of words to appreciate, articulate. Every sound matters. Every word matters. Every word has power. It can harm or it can heal. Choose your words wisely. The second lesson is to train yourself to listen with patience and with respect, particularly to people who have disfluencies, who don't sound like you, people with accents. Have respect for the words that come from everyone's mouth, as long as it speaks from their heart. The third lesson is that no barrier, real or imagined, can ever silence your dreams unless you let it. Whatever your stutter is, don't hide it. Use it. Embrace the unique and beautiful sound of your vocal instrument. Make that music and make it change the world. Whatever your stutter is, embrace it and make it your unique and unlikely superpower. Thank you.